this one, traded for my first big win. Jonathan Fink on the line tonight, with a pack in hand and a story that bites. Old paper, new spark, name on the card, from basement deals to a full-on start. Collected and connected, collected and connected, trading the truth.
Hey, what's up? Jonathan Fink, Sports Card Collectors Club, and this is the Card Life Chronicles. And today we're going to talk and rip some Pokemon, because the Pokemon gods are definitely real. And after what happened tonight with Logan Paul and Ken Golden on their live rip session down at the National, where they ripped a box of 1986 Flair basketball, where they pulled 5 Jordan cards, and then they pulled a Series 1 box of Pokemon. And I guess Logan Paul and Ken have done this before, and they've gone 4 times in a row. They didn't pull the Charizard. And the guy who bought the pack came up. He had texted Logan ahead of time and said, you know, this is going to be the best wrestler of all time, and we're going to pull the Charizard tonight. And then right when it was happening, he was like, I'm manifesting this. And then literally, like, he opened it, and then boom, he pulled the Charizard. The place goes berserk. And it was just one of those Pokemon God moments. The same thing that happens in, you know, baseball with the baseball gods, the football gods, the golf gods. It's just God. It's just a nickname for when these, you know, serendipitous moments happen in sports. So basically, I had, I spent over a year researching Pokemon to write the book. I spent 6 months writing The Pokemon Gods Are Real. And then I spent, I don't know, maybe 6 months editing it, really, right? And getting it really, really tight. And I'm so close to getting it ready and it being done. And then the issue was, well, do I put it out right away? You know, in between, I just released the New Era Volume 3 of the Republic Baseball League in July, and Volume 2, The Flip Life of the Sports Card Collectors Club book series, comes out on December 1st. And so, you know, and I put out, you know, Hockey Gods and Golf Gods early this year, so it's kind of a lot of books. So I thought, you know, maybe I'll postpone the Pokemon Gods until next June, and start putting out books every 6 months. However, and many of you know, if you love Pokemon, September 16th is the 30th anniversary. And that's a really big deal in the Pokemon hobby. And the truth is, I'm not sure that people will be reading books about Pokemon. They'll probably be spending their money buying packs. But I just felt it'd be really appropriate, you know, to release the book on September 16th, or even October 2nd, where a bunch of the other stuff comes out. But September 16th is the definite release day. And so I'm hoping that I can work with my book out layout designer to get it done in time. I think so. With the Sports Card God's help, I will be able to. But that's the goal: is to release the Pokemon book now, because it's ready and the time is right. I feel like tonight's epic pull with on the show with Ken Golden and Logan Paul was a sign of the Pokemon gods to get this book out. And the truth is, the interest in Pokemon is at an all-time high. Prices have been at an all-time high, and now the 30th celebration, there really should be a book about the amazing religion of Pokemon out there to celebrate this hobby. And so, you know what, I could have waited another 7 or 8 months to put it out then, but it's ready now. I'm fine-tuning it. I basically have a ritual where I read a book over and over again until I can't find any mistakes. And the reason why is because sometimes you find a mistake, make a little change. You might make a mistake when you make that change. Then you got to read it again, the next day when you're kind of refreshed, to make sure you're cleaning it up right. So anyway, the book is ready, and then tonight was so epic, and so congrats to Logan Paul and Ken Golden. I got to get them both on my show one of these days, because they're both great champions for this hobby, and cheerleaders, and jesters and jokesters, and great ambassadors for this hobby. I thought they did a great job tonight, and Pokemons are definitely real. So I thought, we haven't done a rip session of Pokemon in a bit, and I got a bunch of random Pokemon, so this won't be a specific theme like Ascended Heroes or Pitch Black. I got an assortment of different Pokemon. We're gonna rip it all if you're up for it. So shout out to the guys in the chat. Definitely leave me some comments or questions. I'm happy to answer any questions you got. Talk about the hobby, about sports cards, about the investment market, even politics, whatever you want to do. I'm happy to talk about it. But in the meantime, let's get after it. Let's rip some packs. Let's celebrate the Pokemon gods, and that I officially have announced and set the date, September 16th. So the goal is set. So now I got to get it done. And if I had some chance I got to postpone it, so be it. But I really think that I'll get the book out on time, and I think that I have a month and a half to get it done. So I gave myself about another week to edit it and get it tight and done. Get it off to the book layout designer, who then takes the chapters and the page numbers and puts it into a workable manuscript that can then be sent to the actual publishing company that actually will, create the book. After I create the book, I'll read it again, make sure there's no mistakes happening in that process. And then after that, I'll create the ebook. So there's a chance that the hardcover and the paperback will be ready by the 16th, and maybe the ebook will be out after that. But whatever, that's all. It's all good. Definitely, we'll have it out in time for everyone who wants to celebrate Pokemon and the 30th celebration. So anyway, let's get after it and rip some packs. So let's start out with some of these individual packs. I got a couple of Journey Together. Let's start with that one. It's been really wild watching the. There's been obviously a recent correction in Pokemon prices. It could just be summer doldrums. It could be part of the anticipation of the 30th release coming out. Could be a lot of other factors like the economy and the overall markets. We'll have to wait and see how that shakes out. The three most recent releases, Chaos Rising and Pitch Black, they have not sold very well. In fact, a lot of those products are now moving towards MSRP prices, which is really shocking. Up until a month ago, people have been scalping and waiting in line for Pokemon, getting into fights over Pokemon. That's a cute card. But if the prices start to decline, I think the scalpers are going to go away because most of those people are only in it for the money. They're not true collectors. So a lot of collectors have been disappointed that they can't get not just product at MSRP, but they can't just get product at all because people just keep scooping it up. That should hopefully be alleviated soon because they're going to print the heck apparently out of the 30th celebration, and rightfully so. The bigger issue is the price. I understand that GameStop has already released their prices and they're jacking them up. They're not selling them at MSRP, which by the way is manufactured suggested retail price. So Pokemon sets a price. They tell Target, Walmart, and GameStop, hey, this is what you should charge. But they don't have to honor that. They can charge whatever they want. I've also noticed that Dick's Sporting Goods at their House of Sports has also started to move prices around at their discretion. And they have the right to do that. It's a free market. I believe in capitalism 100%. If people don't like the prices, they won't buy the product. Okay, but I love all kinds of Pokemon, and actually you can get some cheap Pokemon, believe it or not, with the international stuff. You think it'd be the opposite. You think you have to import it from Japan and China and South Korea. The packs would be more expensive, but they're actually getting less cards per pack, and so therefore they're cheaper. But I love the international stuff. I think it's cool that Pokemon is such a global phenomenon, and the characters, the art is the art. Now the prices definitely vary around the world. American English are more valuable in America and whatever, but sometimes you'll see the markets will change, and like sometimes the Chinese market will get hot, and it's just cool to watch the economics of Pokemon and how the collectors and investors kind of do a dance, an economic dance to find supply and demand equilibrium. Ooh, look at that. Beautiful card. Boom. That's another good one. Yeah, so if you don't know Pokemon well, you probably shouldn't start with Chinese or Japanese Pokemon because you won't know the characters at all. And I'm definitely not an expert. I've studied Pokemon a lot. I've learned a lot in the last couple of years, but I'm definitely not like I can't name all the 151 cards in the Pokédex. But I do appreciate all the aspects of the Pokemon hobby, and it definitely is a hobby religion in a good way. They've got saints and sinners and rituals and traditions. There's temples and cathedrals. There's pilfered temples. There's triumph and victory and loss and heartbreak. And there's an afterlife. That's look at that beautiful design right there. That's sweet. Whoa, look at this Gengar. That is a mega hit. In fact, recently, as prices have been, look at that. Oh my gosh. I'm not sure I've ever pulled a Gengar before in my life, but he's definitely one of the characters that in fact, he's been so popular that when like the sets come out, the ones that have like the guaranteed certain special illustration rare or a certain card, whatever, the Gengars always kind of sell really popular. So that's actually So sick. You got to put it in glass and celebrate it and put it up for display. So I know it's late. It's 12:40 here in Kansas City, so that means it's 1:40 in the morning on the East Coast. A lot of people have work. They're going to sleep. But, people all over the world, people in California, they can hang out. And you know what? A lot of people are insomniacs. And so now you have something to do. You can hang out with me on the Collecting and Connecting podcast network. I'm sure everyone who's been enjoying the National, they're definitely asleep. They must be exhausted. You're up at 6 in the morning. You're waiting in line. You're walking around all day. Then you're probably going to a trade show at night or getting dinner with friends from the hobby. So yeah. And then look at this one too. Anyone know this guy's name? It's going to glass. That's just so cute. So yeah, so what am I doing after the Pokemon Gods is real? Well, I've already started wearing the attire. We got basketball coming up. The basketball gods are real. I got invited to the Summer League for the NBA Top Shot event. And thanks to Paulie from the Collecting and Connecting Podcast Network for inviting me. And I got to be on a panel live on the podcast network. And the next day I got interviewed again at the basketball event and got to go to watch a lot of the games. And it was just so awesome. And I already had written a first round draft for the Basketball Gods during the pandemic, but it's been years. And so I dusted it off. And now I've been collecting articles and stories for ever since. So I'm going to be able to quickly assimilate all that together and then create an updated draft. And then I'll spend, however long it takes, 3 months, 6 months to edit that. My goal would be to get it ready to be released by, yeah, Paulie, what's up, dude? The Nationals immense. Yeah, dude, I can't wait to go next year. I'm in there for sure next year. And I understand if you find a card, Paulie, you got to buy it right then and there because you'll never see that table again, right, dude? Yeah, thanks. Can't wait for the new book. Which one, the Pokemon book or the Basketball Gods Are Real book? Yeah, Pokemon Gods Are Real is going to come out September 16th, the same day as the 30th anniversary. I thought that was good numerology. So this is just a quick summary. That's a good one too. Is that Eevee? Yeah, so people at the National, they might be in bed, they can't go to sleep, and ESPN's gotten boring, and so they can hang out with me, rip some cards. Yeah, so the Logan Paul event tonight with Ken Golden really was awesome. Not only did they rip a bunch of Pokemon that was epic, they ripped a hobby box of 1996 Flair, and I feature that set as a set building chapter in Volume 1 of the Sports Card Collectors Club. But then it comes back around again of Basketball Gods. Yeah, awesome. It comes back around again because I actually even do a chapter about set building in Volume 3 to kind of come full circle. And I have been set building that set 1986 Flair, and I made a lot of progress. But then I went and actually got 4 packs. Now I didn't spend. They were spending like $10,000, $11,000, $12,000 a pack tonight. I did not spend that much, although I did spend a shit ton. So hopefully those packs are not fraudulent and they're real. But I'm going to rip them in this program on the Card Life Chronicles and documenting all the rips for that book. And the Grail card. I mean, look, it's debatable. Which in my Volume 1, I mentioned how the Jordan card is the Grail card. It made sense for the book. The truth is, it might actually be the Hank Greenberg 1938. It's my favorite Grail card, but nonetheless, I still want to get the Jordan card in my PC, and it might be in my house right now. I don't know. I haven't opened those packs yet, but I will be definitely soon. So I'm just doing a little recap of this these first few cards. So thanks for everyone in the chat who's hanging out with us. So mostly the chat's been Paulie. But whoever else is here watching, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining me today. I don't know if you guys caught the Rip Sessions, my new podcast. We had Levi from the NBA Top Shot community come on. The goal of that is to have like a local card shop vibe where you sit around a table ripping cards. But a lot of the people in our community were traveling for the National, so they couldn't come or join. But you know what? If it was just me, I would have ripped cards by myself like I do here. But Levi really saved me. So I had an awesome guest, and we talked Top Shot and about him being a principal and how they have a collectors club at his school, which I think is so awesome because look, the hobby can teach so many things, interpersonal relationships, character, integrity, math, business skills, entrepreneurship, how to hustle, how to work hard. So I think it's awesome. Yeah. Anyone know what this guy is? Okay, it deserves glass. I know that. So yeah. So Paulie, in the chat, what do you think was your favorite thing you saw today? Wow, 4 Fleer packs. That's awesome. Do you like the Fleer or Star? You know what? There's a huge debate right now about what is the real rookie, the Star rookie or the Flair. I think if you're being actually very technical, what was the first one published? If it was the Star, then really the Star should be the real rookie. It doesn't mean it should be more valuable necessarily, because I think that the 1986 design is one of the coolest designs in like sports card history, and so I don't even care if the 86 Flair is his second year card. It's a much better design. It's a much cooler card. It should be more coveted, and to me, that's the card that I'd want in my PC. But I think the Star actually probably is his rookie card, Paulie, if it actually was released first. And if everyone knows, there was a gap between when Topps gave up the license and Flair started making cards again, and so there's like 8 or 9 players like Karl Malone and Charles Barkley and I think maybe Isaiah Thomas, and there's like Chris Mullins, a bunch of those guys that it's their rookie card year because it's the first year there was a card issued since they'd started playing. So it's not technically their first, second year for some of them, but it became their rookie card. So so I still think that's the best set to set build. It's also, I think, only 200 cards, so it's really easy. And by the way, I have a thesis that I'm working on that I'm going to turn to a chapter for volume 3. I have to work on the name of all of it, but I'm still working on the details. But the idea is that if people are ripping packs for investment, for profit, to flip, for like for the enjoyment of pulling something valuable, it's like other sports, they have a lot of positions. Like think about baseball, right? With all the pitchers, starters, and relievers, it's like 12 guys. Then they have the nine stars. So it's like 22 players. The whole roster is like 27 guys. Football, it's 11 and 11. So that's 22. So what are the odds you're going to pull, the quarterback you want or the batter that you want, right? Well, with basketball, there's only 30 teams. So same amount of teams, but a lot less players. You have starting 5 and then what is it, 14 players in the total roster. So the total players, so I think with the Jordan set, a lot less teams then than there is now, but I think it was a 1 in 6 chance in every pack of pulling a Jordan. So obviously now we have more teams that's had a lot of expansion, obviously, but the point is, this is actually more true with the WNBA if people are into ripping cards for that purpose, and you're into chasing Caitlin Clark or Paige Beckers or whatever. I mean, WNBA is the best odds because it's just that few players. Pokemon, when guys like Logan Paul are ripping that Series 1 stuff, there's only 151 characters, and so it's still hard to pull a Charizard or a Pikachu, but the odds are the odds, right? Now with Pokemon, it could be over 1,000 characters, definitely in the hundreds. So it's a whole different ballgame. What's Bayou Sniper? Thanks for the question in the chat, dude. What Pokemon would Derek Quimby? I don't know, dude. What do you think? I don't have a good answer to that. That's a funny question. I can tell you what my favorite Pokemon character is. Actually, though, I PC one specific character. And actually, it's the closest PC to me. It's I have them all lined up around my shelf. It's Pichu. Okay. And in the back of the book, The Pokemon Gods Are Real, I'm going to include all my Pichu characters. So yeah, September 16th is when I'm going to release the book. I'm going to work really hard to get it out. Here, hold on one second. I got 3 more. I also keep this guy close by too. I won him. I spun a wheel at a Pokemon event, and I won this for free. So yeah. So speaking of super collecting, I got Michaela from Michaela Cards. She's a super collector of like Stephen Kwan and I think Balzano and a couple of other guys on the Cleveland Indians. And she also super collects only red cards. So yeah. In anticipation of that, in that interview. Now, again, on Tuesday nights, I alternate. So, like next Tuesday is my regular podcast, Sports Card Collectors Club, and that's at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock here in the Midwest. And then the opposite Tuesday nights, I do the Rip Sessions, which is the late night hangout show, and that's 10 o'clock on the East Coast, 9 o'clock here. So the first one's kind of like Hot Ones. It's kind of a one-on-one interview, but we do rip cards. But Michaela is into red cards, and so the sports card guys were telling me it was time to contact her for an interview because these are all the cards that I have found when I've been going through stacks looking to like flip cards and whatever. And look at all these Michaela cards. So I'm gonna send these to her after our interview. Look at that. That's awesome. So Michaela, shout out to you. You're probably sleeping. I know you're working hard today at the National. All right, so let's rip a few more packs. Let's keep going. Yeah, shout out to Kayla Collects. She was on my show a couple weeks ago. She's been a correspondent at the National and doing a great job. And she just looks so happy to be there, and I love it. I love seeing the hobby grow. And, Michael Rubin, when Fanatics took over Topps, he was always talking about, 10Xing the hobby. And I think you 10X the hobby by going international. You 10X the hobby by getting, sports stars like, Jalen Brunson and Kat to endorse sports cards and become fans of it. And then I think you expand the hobby 10 times by getting older people back into cards, getting younger people into cards, and getting girls and women into cards. And I think a lot of people like Kayla and Michaela will tell you that they're the vanguard. They're the first to really break out. There's a lot of girls that are in it with their dads, but there's probably a lot of girls who didn't have fathers who are into it and just didn't have a vehicle to get into cards, and so they just couldn't find their way. But now you look at the card shows, there's lots of girls, and Kayla and Michaela are responsible for hosting all girl trade nights, which is great because what a great way for girls to get comfortable with the hobby with like-minded individuals. So anyway, let's keep ripping. Okay, so Pitch Black was another new release that has not done well. People have slept out and lined up at Target and Walmart for these, but if you were doing that to flip, you didn't make any money. These things are trading for a little over MSRP right now, and that's a shock because people remember Ascended Heroes, and that was double. That was worth double. On day one, you could buy the box, the ETB for $60, and sell it for over $100, easily. On eBay the next day. Of course, packaging and shipping, and you got to factor all that stuff in. By the way, let's see. A Bayou Sniper in the chat. I'm really big into Yu-Gi-Oh! Qualified at the YCS Dallas in 2015. Dude, that is awesome. So yeah, the TCG thing is important and cool to me because beyond the commerce and the trading and the money is a game, that people love, and that's why these hobbies are awesome, and they'll rise and fall. The economies will rise and fall, but the players will never leave. They love it. And Pokemon at the end of the day is just a game. And I think more people should probably play the game. I feel like a lot of people today are just chasing the money, and they're chasing the rising prices. I'm not sure if they're in this for the right reasons, but believe me, if the prices start to correct, if you have a major sell-off in prices for whatever reason, you'll find out that, what does Warren Buffett say? That, when the tide pulls out, you find out who's not wearing a bathing suit, right? So the true collectors, they don't really care about the price. They're in this for the love of it. And just like me, I'm ripping this pack, and let's see what we get. Griffey Jr. and Barry Bonds rookie. So mad I don't have them anymore. Yeah, dude. I mean, Junk Wax Comeback. I mean, that might be a book idea I might put out. I actually I have an idea. I'm already working on it, actually. But yeah, if you look at the Ken Griffey Jr. 1989 Upper Deck card, I actually used to flip that for a bit, and it used to be a $50 card a year ago, and now it's a $100 card. So the prices are everything. I mean, I saw today on Card Ladder, I did a post about it, a Ted Williams card from the 1953 set, I think. It's like a straight up hockey stick, the price, and I don't know what is going on that's creating such demand right now. It could be a lot of things, but it's also kind of like the chart patterns of what happens in a bubble. You look at, NVIDIA stock or SanDisk stock or the Korean stock market right now, kind of like straight up hockey stick. Look, I love silver, but when silver broke 30, went from 30 to 120, when something goes straight up like that, it's inevitably going to fall. And sure enough, silver went from 120, now it's down to 60. And it still could go down to 50 because that was the original 50-year cup and handle breakout level. So heads up, not investment advice, but just a heads up there. So let's see what else it says here. Bayou Sniper pulled a Beware, aka Derek Queen, and Signa Bass writes, "So far, my ancient muse are my grail since I got them myself like 20 years ago." Hell yeah, dude! I mean, dude, so the people that just buy and hold, and you know what? I saw this girl named Kira. She's got a really fun YouTube channel. She's kind of this cynical, funny girl, and she knows her stuff. And she was like, you know what? I just buy what I love, and it's probably out of favor. And you know what? 5 years later, it's worth a shit ton. And she's like 10 extra money because what she loves, eventually everyone else loves too. Because people go through, people are influenced by others and stuff like that. And if the goal is to make money, you want to buy low and sell high. Buying the Bubble Mew at $1,500 when it was $500 a year ago is not a great decision. Buying high, hoping things go higher, that works for a very short period of time. You got to be very, very careful because everything goes through cycles, and so you have to study charts. And you ask your AI to analyze a chart, but the same way you can analyze a chart of oil or gold, you can study the chart of the 1989 Upper Deck Ken Griffey, and not that it's overvalued, because look, I think that there's a huge junk wax comeback coming, and I think that junk wax actually is very, very undervalued. But still, even if silver, I think, should be at $500 an ounce or $1,000 an ounce, when anything goes from 30 to 120, come on, dude, it's gonna have a sick pullback at some point. All right, back to the card. Let's get back to business here. We're here to celebrate Pokemon, and the Pokemon gods are real. Tonight, Logan Paul and Ken Golden went bananas. They opened up a box of 86 Flare NBA, and they opened up a Series 1 box of Pokemon, and they hit the Charizard, which is what they were trying to do. And the guy who won it hit it, manifested it. He called it. The whole thing was epic. And I said, that's it. I know I got to release this book. So I decided, even though it's not officially ready yet, my goal is to get this book ready and get the final draft to my book layout designer, so I can get this book on the shelf by September 16th, which is the official release day of the 30th anniversary of Pokemon. And in the religion of Pokemon, anniversaries are a big deal. So I want to be part of that. And I love numerology, and I love the energy of releasing my book on the same day. And so that's the goal, is to get that out there. This is look at that cool design. Yeah, I'm fascinated with the Pokemon, how the cards evolve. Every generation, the cards get more interesting. They get better. They get more sophisticated. All right, another pack of Pitch Black. So yeah, I think the pitch black cards look really good. Now look, a lot of the reasons why the prices might be going down right now is because simply, including other factors, is that the 30th anniversary set has leaked some cards, and some of those cards that have been leaked are going to be mega chase cards. Beyond that, I actually put out a Card Life Chronicles hobby update about Pokemon, because there is a rumor. Now this is total rumor. I don't mean to speculate and spread rumors, but it's very possible that they're going to release parallels, colored parallels of maybe the core 4 Pokemon characters. And if they release parallels, that's going to send the hobby into an absolute tizzy. In my opinion, is once you start introducing parallels, you might as well start doing numbered cards, right? And could you imagine having a purple Charizard out of 99? I always thought that if Pokemon ever went through a mega recession and times were tough, other TCG games started taking up too much market share, and they had to do something stunning to shock the market back into loving them, they would play that card. It turns out they might play it sooner. If they do, I think that would be mind-numbing. I mean, the hobby would just go berserk. And they don't need to, honestly. Everyone loves the cards just the way they are. But I think that would make sense if they did that, and I think they should do it. I think that would make the hobby even better. We saw how at the junk wax era, the card manufacturers found a way to kind of force scarcity. They kind of create scarcity. And, the parallels are getting out of control, like New Topps Chrome Baseball. I mean, how many parallels are there of Connor Griffin? It's insane. But the truth is, people love the parallels, and they love the numbered cards. And, I think you give the people what they want. It's a business, right? You're here to entertain people. So if the goal is to entertain and people love this stuff, give the people what they want. All right, so let's keep going with the individual packs. Got some more Pitch Black. I've not ripped Pitch Black before today. I had an ETB, and I decided to flip it. I flipped my entire ETB collection, actually, about, I don't know, 6 weeks ago. I might have actually sold it at the literal top. That was not by design. I did think the market was very toppy, but it was more of a function of I'm buying lots of other wax for my Car Life Volume 3, and I've bought like expensive packs like these. I bought 4 NBA 1986 flare packs, for example, whatever. So you got to fund that, you know. So I did sell a silver coin to start funding the project, but then I decided, you know what? I have a chapter called the ETB collection, and then by the time it's over, it's the ETB portfolio, because the ETB, I first bought them just to kind of just, I was writing the book, I was researching it, and they're beautiful, so I just kept collecting them and stacking them up and had them all around my room. They look great. And then I was able to buy them at MSRP because I work from home. I'm a financial advisor, it's my day job, and when I know that Target on Ward Park is doing a drop on Friday at 10 a.m., I can just drive by. It's no big deal. So I've been able to accumulate a lot of ETBs and all kinds of Pokemon. All this stuff is bought at MSRP. I never have to buy on eBay because we have a lot of shops in Kansas City. We have tons of Targets and Walmarts. We're really blessed in that respect. So it's not hard for me to get it. And so anyway, so I looked at the portfolio. I had the app and Collect. I've been tracking the portfolio, and it was up like over 80%. And I was like, you know what? It's time just to cash it out. There's probably a correction coming, 30th anniversary anyway, and I wanted the cash to help fund other projects and buy more stuff, which I've been doing, and including buying a lot of junk wax because I'm kind of getting ready for. I thought it was going to be a trilogy, but I actually have another idea about junk wax that I'm going to do after that. Just kind of find my passions, and so yes, I've been buying a lot of high boxes from the junk wax era, if you will, specifically in the '90s. I gave up the hobby in '88, so I wasn't able to enjoy ripping wax. I never ripped any Upper Deck packs, actually. I was out of the hobby after, that came out a year later. So I'm going to do a lot of the stuff that I never got to do as a kid. Here's a tremendous bomb, and here's a tremendous hit. Look at this. A mega slow bro. Again, when I say mega hit, like it could be worth $5. I don't even know how much this card is worth. I just appreciate, when you rip packs, most of them are bust, right? So I appreciate in the mundane ripping of packs, when you get the inserts or the unique cards, I appreciate them. And this one is just beautiful. I mean, it's just not beautiful. It's adorable. It's more adorable. But it definitely deserves glass. I also thought this was pretty. I'm not sure I've ever pulled this before. Tremendous bomb. Yeah, so 32 people in the chat. I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining me tonight. Celebrating the Pokemon Gods Are Real. I've officially decided to release the book in September. So now I got to work really hard to get it ready. Wow, it just jumped up from 30 to 50 people in the chat. So thank you so much. So yeah, so I'm just celebrating the Pokemon Gods Are Real, paying the Pokemons their respect. They were definitely real tonight for Ken Golden and Logan Paul. They had their big pack ripping event where they ripped 86 Flare, a box of that, and a Series 1 box of Pokemon, and they had some epic hits, and the place went berserk. It was like literally like the Pokemon gods were literally there to make sure that it was a successful event, and it definitely was. I also want to give some props to Logan Paul. I know he's a total jester maxer, and he's controversial in different things. Don't forget, he's an entertainer. He's a WWE wrestler. He's playing a character, okay? But he became really good friends with someone who I'm going to feature in my Music God series, Oliver Tree. Now, Oliver Tree has been popular for years. I had no idea who he was until about 3 or 4 months ago. I discovered him on TikTok. So much so that I loved it. I discovered his music, and I tell my kids, they were like, dude, my son was like, Dad, he's been around forever. He's been on he's like millions of fans. He's played Red Rocks. I had no idea. Unfortunately, at 32 years old, almost turned 33, Oliver, he had a world tour planned, and I think on the 3rd or 4th night in Brazil, he died in a tragic helicopter crash. Just terrible. And by the way, be careful with your words. He wrote a lot of songs about death and dying and falling to his death. And if you follow my books, your words manifest. Excuse me. When people pray, your thoughts, your words, they're meaningful, right? So if the same way that the guy tonight on the he manifested the Charizard because he was thinking positively about it. Well, if you're thinking about things negatively, like your own death, it become, psychosomatic, it kind of can manifest in your life. So it's just very tragic. I pray for his soul and his family and friends, because he was a real talented guy. He was a very, very funny. He's kind of the Charlie Chaplin of our time, and he was really a jester. In fact, when I wear my jerseys and stuff like that, I kind of feel like I the same way he kind of hams it up. It wasn't until I started hamming it up I started selling records. Well, kind of with me, I feel like until I started going on YouTube, that's when my book started to really sell. So I kind of feel like it's kind of jester maxing in a way. Well, anyway. He did a charity auction tonight, and the money raised is going to go to a charity that Oliver had set up before he passed away, in the event that he ever did pass away, which of course then again he manifested. And so they raised a lot of money tonight, and they donate to Oliver Tree's charity. And so I thought that was really cool that Logan Paul paid respect to Oliver Tree and gave him a moment. And I kind of feel like when souls pass on, they're still with us. They're watching somehow what's going on in this realm. And I know that Oliver Tree is smiling tonight. And he actually, if you watch his videos, he'd actually referenced the music gods in the past. So I really appreciate that as well. Of course, when I say music gods, Pokemon gods, please know it's just a nickname for God, for Jesus, for Hashem, for Allah, for the one creator. That's all. That's just the same nickname for the Holy Spirit, for that intelligent energy that permeates all things, right? So that's what I try to write books about is, how does a miracle happen? How do these synchronicities happen when you think they're just coincidences, but you know that they're not, that they're, just for example, I don't have the card right here, but if Paulie's still watching, I brought Paulie a gift at the Summer League because the Knicks just won the championship. He's a Knicks fan, and so I gave him this Jalen Brunson All-Star NBA Hoops card, and then he comes on my show, and he's a guest, and I open up my first NBA pack, and the first card I pull is the same exact card. Hold on, it's actually it's so special to me because it's like a spiritual pull. I saved it. Hold on, real quick. Watch this. So in my office, I keep all my PC stuff. It's pretty much all my office, right? But I have a certain shelf where all the shelves are dedicated to rips, to like big pulls that I've, like stuff that I've decided to keep. And sometimes remember, like when you pull something, one man gathers, another man spills. It doesn't all have to, for me, I'm a collector. It doesn't have to be valuable for me to get excited. I get excited the most when I pull the players that I've met or that I know or that I root for, whatever. So I grew up in New York. I'm a Knicks fan. And so I was rooting for the Knicks all the way. And, so again, when I gave this gift, it was not a valuable gift. It's just more of a spiritual, meaningful gift, just like from bro to bro, right? And then, boom, I pulled the card, the first card. Actually, as I was opening the pack, I could see this card shining, looking at me. And I'm like, man, sports card gods are real, right? Well, in this case, it's the basketball gods. And that was another inspiration to start, getting that book, ready to go. And my goal is to get the basketball gods are real ready for Summer League next year. Because it took me, I probably wrote that book in 6 months, but I've spent the last several years accumulating articles and stories that are appropriate for that book. So I'm gonna have to find a way now to get all that material into the book. In fact, Danhausen, I might make my intro. If you guys are familiar with Danhausen, the WWE wrestler, speaking of Logan Paul, it was Danhausen who uncursed the New York Knicks, and then he cursed the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then the Knicks won 14 games in a row all the way to the NBA championship. So was it a coincidence? Were they really uncursed? Is it just positive vibes? I think it's all the above, right? I mean, the truth is the Knicks had amazing team chemistry. Two players played together at Villanova. The best player's father is an assistant coach. There's a lot going on there. By the way, speaking of spirituality, Carl Anthony Townsend, his mother had recently passed away. And after two of the games when he was being interviewed right there on the court, celebrating their comeback victories, he credited his passed on mother like she was one of the basketball gods, helping them will them to victory. So again, I really believe in this stuff, but how many times you have to see it for you to believe it that it might be true too, right? And if it is true, well, then what else is true, right? It just makes you want to think about, the reality that's beyond, our five senses, because I was an atheist most of my life, guys. So it wasn't until I got into yoga and started getting into meditation and then prayer and then experimenting with prayer, which I document in my first Baseball Gods of Real book series. And then, of course, through my whole entire Music Gods of Real series, because how can I get an interview with Joe Bonzo from the Oak Ridge Boys and pray for it, and then it happens, and it's like, is that a coincidence, or did I manifest it? Just with my thoughts. I don't have the answers, but I document this stuff and I share the stories because it's wild stuff. And again, if however it's happening, if it is happening for people, then it can happen for anybody, and they just have to get into alignment with their spiritual self and do the work, right? But more about that for another day, right? Oh, that's a cool looking card. Slow. I actually think the pitch black cards look fantastic. I don't understand why. Well, look at this one. I don't understand why the prices are cooling, except for the fact that all the other markets are rolling over and the 3rd anniversary. My sense is that this set should be continuing to do well and appreciating in value. And you know what? Doom. How about this? I have a chapter called "The Lost Sets" in the Pokemon Gods Are Real, because nothing ever gets lost physically. All the sets are around, but for example, this one right here, Black Bolt. Black Bolt has never been a popular set. Like everyone wants Prismatic, everyone wants Destined Rivals. They want Ascended Heroes. No one wants Black Bolt. When Black Bolt came out, it might have been popular for a minute, and then the prices faded. But you know what? Everything goes through cycles, and right now, Black Bolt's had a huge rally. Even though most of the Pokemon prices have collapsed, Black Bolt's gone up because it's a lost set. What happens is people forget. They get other things that get them excited, and they move on to other things to chase. And so certain product releases, for whatever reason, kind of get lost. Not physically lost, but lost in sentiment. So with that being said, let's rip some Black Bolt. A lost set. Yeah, I actually had thought about. I wrote an outline for the book, The Sports Card Gods Are Real. But the truth is, in my Sports Card Collectors Club series, I reference the sports card gods all the time, so it kind of felt redundant. But with the Pokemon Gods Are Real book, that really is a book about the card gods in general, not just Pokemon gods. The same phenomenon that happens in sports cards. Last pack magic, last box on the last pack on the hanger, last box on the shelf. All these rituals and superstitions, they all translate, right? Even tonight during the live Golden auction with Logan Paul and Ken Golden, they had individual people come up and they all do little rituals before their stuff. Some guys do this, they all, because everyone's superstitious, and superstitious does not mean it's coming from ignorance. There's very, very wealthy hedge fund managers and private equity guys that are superstitious because it's more about energy, and conjuring luck, conjuring the unexplained, that could happen, through divine intervention. Who knows? Whatever else. All right, so real quick shout out to the Paulie, 5 Jordans in a box. That was sick. And then they also pulled the Charizard, which was his huge chase card, and was in a mint condition too. So that was just it was great. It was great entertainment. It's wild how the hobby has become so entertaining, and there's I'm a content creator. Paulie's created a whole content network. I think collecting and connecting is the next Barstool, by the way. So you heard it here first. But basically, people have so many different hobbies and interests, but the sports card hobby is a very unique niche. Pokemon's a very unique niche, and you needed a platform like YouTube and TikTok for all these small creators to get their platform. But they're now creators who've got millions of followers, but the mainstream media has only got so many channels, right? Where YouTube is now, it's infinite channels. And so you can see how there really is a huge audience for content, even just people opening cards and talking about cards. There's so many podcasts of people just talking about the hobby. There are some podcasts that are dedicated to just complaining about the hobby, right? Right? Sports Card Radio, shout out to Professor Sports Cards. Professor Sports Cards is terrific. And he's going to be on my podcast, my Hot Ones show, Sports Card Collectors Club, in a few weeks. And he's terrific. He's sarcastic and he's funny, and he pokes fun at the hobby. He keeps it real, and I think he really actually, drops a lot of truth bombs too. So I hope if you're watching this, great job, man. He's terrific. But the point is, this hobby, people love it. Look what's going on. Look at Fanatics Fest, the turnout. Look at what's going on right now at the National right now, right? Here you have people like Paulie who are loving the cards all day long, and now they're still getting more content right now because they're in bed and they're watching me rip packs, right? Now look, Paulie's an exception. he runs our network, so maybe he's watching this because this is his baby. But for everyone else watching, some people are watching at home, some people will be watching right now in their hotel rooms because people love this hobby. And if you love something, you can't get enough of it. And my feeling is if it's comes from a good place, a healthy place, then that's awesome. That Professor Sports Cards, that's a synchronicity, right? Professor Research. That's shout out for Professor Sports Cards. Yeah, I've watched his come up over the last a year or two, and his podcast continues to get better. I love how he gets to everyone's different. Like his show is totally different than mine, but I love he's got this peanut gallery of people, of fans who call in, and he's got the red blue character, and all these people with fake names, whatever. But the energy is terrific, and it's about community. And he, sorry, the reason why I wanted to create the Rip Sessions show is to create community, do my part in fostering and helping community. The idea of creating, it's not the sports card investors club or it's a sports collectors club, and it's a club. It's about people sharing this love together, and so in any way we can do that, we should continue to do it. And yes, I think Professor Sports Card has done a great job in the community, because when you're letting anyone just call up and speak their mind, I mean, that's awesome. You're empowering people. That's like populism at its finest. And so I'm a huge fan of that dude, and really look forward to becoming one of his guests on his show too as well. All right, this Slowpoke, we've seen that one already. Sheldon, that one's spooky. They're not all cute, right? I mean, this guy is actually flat out terrifying. So this is the first time I've done a really long rip session like this live. Most of the time I've been going live, but just doing like one blaster box, 10 minutes, 15 minutes tops. So this is kind of a new, longer format, and yeah, dude, it's fun. More Black Bolt. Let's go. Now I have started to notice the difference in the sets, right? From Pitch Black to Black Bolt. Black Bolt came out a long time ago, and the cards are not as shiny. The designs are not as distinct. They don't have the same compunction as the cards from Pitch Black. And so that's what's cool, man. I mean, it's evolution. Every set should be a little different, and every set should have, and if they're doing the job right, everything should continue to evolve and get better. And I guess when they do have a set that disappoints, it should become a lost set. It shouldn't do well. It shouldn't trade above MSRP just for the sake of it. Oh, Paulie loves my random rip episodes. Yeah, dude. Yeah, you know what? When I saw you, Paulie, in Vegas, you were like, "Yeah, let's do more together." And at first I thought that might just me being guests on like people's shows, like a recurring guest, like for example on Sunday nights with Jay Destiny and the Hive and the High Hard One baseball podcast that we're doing. But then I was like, you know what? Let me do some kind of thing where I was already doing pack openings, and I thought, you know what? Let me do it where I can do my intro and capture some of the good hits with the AI clips that you can do and the editing and whatever, and just kind of take it to the next level. And then I had the idea, well, you know what if I, it shouldn't always be about me. This is about the community. And then I thought, oh, what if I just do it with the community? And that's where the Rip Sessions idea came about. So now I basically have three shows with Paulie on the Collecting and Connecting Podcast Network. I have the flagship show, the Sports Card Collectors Club, which is basically Hot Ones, every other Tuesday, 7:00 on the East Coast, 6:00 here in the Midwest. And then every alternative Tuesday at 10:00 on the East Coast, we have the Rip Sessions, still under the brand of Collecting and Connecting and the Sports Card Collectors Club, but that's just a different format. That's it's still like with Levi last week. It did have a little bit of interview component, but if we get 5, 6, 7 people, it won't be like that. It's just gonna be people just hanging out, ripping packs. And my hope is that with the National this week, a lot of my recurring characters, maybe like Paulie and Nicole, Banana, we get her in this group, and we get like 3 or 4 recurring characters, and then therefore, we could bring someone in here or there, but there's always a core crew, and people look forward to those just 4 friends hanging out. So yeah, I'm all open for that. Hopefully we can make that happen. And then with the individual packs, I still want to do pack openings. I still have cards to open for the Card Life book series, and I wanted to chronicle that and document it. And that's where the whole idea of this spontaneous kind of Card Life Chronicles thing. Now, this particular one, this is to honor the Pokemon gods and to shout out the book release date of September 15th. But I am ripping some Pokemon as part of the Card Life Volume 3. But this one is, we're going to do some, every once in a while, we're just going to do some random stuff. In fact, I got a lot of baseball that I still want to rip that is not part of the Card Life series that we're just going to rip when I feel like it and we get the chance. So real quick, Paulie says, and we have a new Pokemon show coming on August 11th and August 26th with a bunch of Pokemon diehards, the Poke Podcast Collective. Are you kidding me? Paulie, you are effing crushing it, dude. I mean, you're really crushing it. You know, when you started out, you were doing a lot of the core base, which was NBA Top Shop and NBA, but you know, you are What Do You Collect? And then broader speaking, Collecting Connecting Podcast Network, you want to have all kinds of stuff related to connecting. And of course, the NBA should be, it's your core, it's your bread and butter. It should continue to be that way. But yeah, I think doing more sports card stuff, non-sports cards, like Pokemon is awesome. And I would love to be a guest on that show. So much fun. And, you know, and I've really, definitely not an expert, but I definitely have learned a lot about this hobby in Pokemon. And I love it. And I'll continue to, even when this book is come and gone, I'll continue to, you know, rip wax of Pokemon and stay an active participant. You really can't avoid it because when you go to a local card show, I mean, look, 5 years ago it was probably 10% Pokemon, 90% sports cards. Now it's flipped. Now it's sometimes some of the smaller shows, it could be 90% Pokemon, and you talk to the people and you can't help but fall in love with the community and the economy and all that comes with it. So yeah, so totally love Pokemon. And you know what? I hope that I'm rooting for Gary V, man. I hope that V-Friends become so popular that there's a demand for the V-Friend gods are real. And I will totally be a guest on a V-Friends, you know, show, maybe even host one, and would love to, you know, to continue to help V-Friends grow and thrive. Yeah, so for as much as I love all non-sports cards now, I've really come around to it, and I, of course, love Pokemon. You know, V-Friends really is my favorite right now because there's so much purpose and meaning in every pack. You know, in fact, you know what? Time out. We're gonna break real quick from Pokemon. Check this out. Let's do it. Let me show you why I love V-Friends. Let's pull a random pack. So Gary V, if you're watching this, if you've been working all day at the V-Friends and you're so charged up that you're actually awake right now and you're watching, this rip is for you, dude. I hope we meet soon. I'm sorry I didn't come this year. I'll definitely meet you next year unless we at your booth, unless I meet you sooner. But yeah, this stuff is absolutely brilliant. All right, so first we got the badass Bulldog. Competitive advantage, rough around the collar edge that makes others feel like a badass just staying next to them. Could you feel that? Yeah, it's awesome. Observant oyster. Doesn't guess blindly. Observes, then acts. Yeah, I mean, like if you're a Pokemon hobbyist and you're in this for the flip, for the investor, don't just buy what everyone else is buying. If the Bubble Mew is adorable and cute, which it is, by the way, then buy that card, whatever. But don't just buy it because other people are buying it. Buy what you like. Really find out what you love in this hobby. Responsive RAM. Charges into action the moment they're needed. Yeah. And then some of these a little funny. You're gonna die, Fly. I'm not. This one does it really? Let's see. Let's see if there's any redeeming quality in this one, Gary. Come on. Flies through life knowing that tomorrow isn't promised. Well, see, that's actually quite deep. V-Friends is the bomb, man. I mean, it really is a brilliant product, and I would love to be an employee at V-Friends. When you come to work every day, literally entertaining and making the world a better place. Right? The world has a lot of darkness, and it needs more light. And in this hobby, what a great Trojan horse. I understand that Gary, he's a self-help guru. He does a lot of different things, but his approach is he's dropping F-bombs. He's very loud. He's cantankerous, right? He's not for everybody, but he found a very brilliant way of getting his message across anyway through this product. And this is the kind of product where, like, I'm in no rush to become a grandpa, right? I got a daughter who just graduated from college. I got a son who's a sophomore in college, but I look forward to the day when I'm a grandpa. And I come over to their house, or the kids come over to the grandparents' house for a sleepover, and I have like packs waiting for them. And we're gonna rip packs, and then we're gonna rip packs, and then my granddaughter will say, hey, Dad, what is the daring dragonfly? What does it mean to be ambitious, the ambitious angel? And what a clever way to teach your kids these important character traits, right? I just think it's so brilliant. Now with Pokemon, I don't know, I have not watched all the movies, and I don't know the whole lore. I've not played the video games and the cartoon stuff, so maybe there are a lot of characters. Maybe Charizard is a really awesome superhero and has all these redeemable qualities. I don't really know about that stuff. If they do have these qualities, it doesn't come across very easily just from the cards. Where the V-Funk cards, it's blatantly obvious what their message is and their purpose. By the way, that V-Funk was a bust pack, but that's okay because even the base cards have such wisdom that it's just brilliant. I just love it. All right, back to Pokemon. Remember, we're honoring the Pokemon gods because after watching the craziness tonight on the Golden Auction with Logan Paul and Ken Golden, I knew the Pokemon gods are real. They showed it again without any shadow of a doubt. I had to honor them with this rip, and I decided to fast track that book. And rather than putting it out next June or July, or even next December, I'm going to put it out ASAP. And my goal is to get it out on September 16th because that is the official release day of the Pokemon 30th anniversary. And I write about holidays and anniversaries in the Pokemon books. I celebrate the religion of Pokemon. So, of course, I had to line up that numerology and release the book on that day. All right, let's get some more Black Bolt going. So 200 plus people in the chat right now. That is amazing. Thank you so much. It's 1:30 in the morning here in Kansas City, and wherever you are, you could be watching in Tokyo, you could be in Bangladesh, you could be in Vancouver, Canada. I don't know. But even if you're watching it like on Long Island somewhere and it's 2:30 in the morning, hell yeah, dude. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Hopefully I'm entertaining. You know what? The biggest compliment is that you're watching me like in bed with your headphones on and you fall asleep to me, I would not be insulted. I'd be honored. I'd be honored. That guy looks like one of the Gremlin characters, doesn't he? He's cute. Cute card alert. Look at this guy. Yeah, so I think Black Bolt so far is kind of one of the more blander sets. I kind of see how it became a lost set. Not a lot of shine so far. Maybe I'm biased. I haven't had any major hits. I haven't had any special illustration rares or any really cool hollows. I love the cute guys. Look at this guy. He's so cute. In the religion of Pokemon, we talk about, hot streaks and cold streaks. At the end of the day, there's pure mathematics. There's odds and all this stuff. They've printed a certain amount every, there's only so many charges that are created, right? Oh, look at this one. Just when, the Pokemon gods are always listening. They did not like that I kind of talked a little down about Black Bolt, and they have proven me wrong. This guy happens to be really cute also, but I can't put everything into glass, right? It's got to be extra special, and this one, that one delivered. You know what? I use Safari browser. I probably should. Paulie told me this. I probably should use the Google browser because I can set up a second screen, and I probably should be pulling up, eBay prices right now. So maybe I'll do that next time, Paulie, because this is a perfect example. I am curious how much. This could be a $5 card. I have no idea. I just appreciate how hard it is to pull this kind of rare stuff, and I just love the design. I love the full art. But I would be curious to know how much this is going for. What's your best guess, guys, in the chat? What do you think this card costs? What do you guys think? All right, if you don't vote, I'm just going to tell you what I think it's cost. I think it's a $50 card, maybe a $100 card. If it's $5, I'd be disappointed. It's just beautiful. So yeah, Paulie, if you're still with us, let me get this chat working. I'll ask the chat a question directly. What are you looking forward the most tomorrow? I know you spent a lot of time. By the way, you were wearing a jacket today. You look dapper, my friend. You look really dapper. But you spent a lot of time interviewing people. You gotta make sure you spend time to be a hobbyist and get to some tables and stuff like that. I'm curious to know, how do you divide and conquer your time? And I'm curious to know, like, tomorrow, what's the most exciting thing you're looking forward to doing? Yeah, I think the national is probably very overwhelming, and you got to go for a number of days because you just can't do it all in one day. Last year I was supposed to go, my trip got canceled for lots of weird different reasons, but I was only going to go for 2 days, and that wouldn't have been enough. This year it wasn't in the cards for different reasons, whatever. But next year I'll definitely go for at least 3 days. You know what? And now that I'm like a content creator, I kind of have even more reason to go than just to go for myself as a collector, because you really get to bump into some really familiar faces, and it's fun to co-create and collaborate with other creators, and you get to see them all there. So I totally see how that's totally awesome. So yeah, so I'll be going next year. I'm very excited about that. I also hope to plan to go to the NBA Top Shot Summer League event again next year if they have it. If I'm welcome, the community is really incredible, and I think it'll be pretty epic if I can get my Basketball Gods Are Real book released just in time to frankly have copies that I can be signing and handing out to people all that weekend. That'll be so much fun. I actually really enjoy, when I give out books, it costs me money. Don't get me wrong, it's not free. It is a marketing expense from that perspective, but it's more like planting spiritual seeds. I like to give a book away and see a person's smile on their face if they really appreciate the gift. And then you wonder, like, where's that book going to go? Who's going to read it? Will it sit on a shelf for 5 years until a grandkid comes over for Thanksgiving and finds that book? Or will that person love it so much he'll read it and then, give it to his wife to read or share it with a book club? You just don't know, like, where your books will go. But I definitely know that they travel around, and so it's just fun, when I travel. I did this a lot when I traveled the country with my son. We played travel baseball. We traveled so many places. And that was back when I was, in RBL Volume 1 and the Baseball Gods were RBL Volume 3. And I would, every time we would meet a waiter, look at this guy. He kind of looks like a reptilian situation there. That's pretty. So, yeah. This is an interesting phenomenon. I noticed this when we do the Rip Sessions show and when I do my Hot Ones, flagship sports card show, that, I guess people will discover your live stream when they discover it, so it might be midstream when they join it. Not everyone's going to join the moment you click go live. You kind of would like it to be that way. But what I have noticed is, like, with the Rip Sessions, we got right up to 1,000. I remember when we went from 30 to 100 views, and I was, hey, that's awesome. We have 100 viewers. But after an hour, we were at 1,000, and I thought to myself, you know what? It should be an hour show. We should call it a day. But Paulie had once mentioned to me, if your show is hot and it's vibing, just keep going. If you got people watching, keep going. And so I didn't do that. Maybe hopefully we'll do that next time. I'll do that. But in this case, when I first started, there was just a few people on there, and my sense is it doesn't really matter. I'm doing this anyway, so I might as well just rip and record it. But yeah, I've watched more and more people continue to join the stream as we go. So now we're at 250. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I appreciate it. If you've got any comments or questions, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to know your comments. What do you guys think of Topps Chrome NBA being released unsealed? Thoughts? What do you guys think of? This is a random one. What do you guys think of Cards HQ opening their second store in Detroit? What do you guys think of Tom Brady opening a card vault one every month? That is impressive. I've actually been to the one in Kansas City. I did not get to the one in Vegas. I went to, I think, 8 different card shops in Vegas when I was there for Summer League. And The one I did not get to was Tom Brady's because I saw a TikTok about it and it looked identical to the one in Kansas City. And frankly, I'm happy he's in the business. I think it's great for the hobby. It's a cute little shop, but it's not very, very big. And they don't have a lot of the unique stuff that I like. I like weird stuff like junk wax and whatever. So I knew that was the last. I'd say that shop for last, and I just never got over there. But shout out to Las Vegas. I mean, they have a really awesome sports card scene. I had a lot of fun going to all those shops and meeting all the owners. So this one I bought at Target. It comes with a guaranteed insert slowpoke, and then there's one pack, and then it gives you a little coin. So we'll open this thing up. So yeah, so I guess the thing about these live streams is that now I've been live for an hour, and we have the most viewers we've ever had. And it's sort of like if I just say, if I just keep going, will you keep going? You gonna stay with me, guys? Are more people gonna show up? And if you do, I appreciate you guys. I have the energy, so if you guys are in for it. Actually, I might run out of Pokemon packs soon, but we can rip other stuff. Don't worry. But the goal was to celebrate Pokemon, to honor the Pokemon gods, to let you guys know that I'm going to release the Pokemon Gods Are Real on September 15th, which is the same day as the 30th anniversary of Pokemon. And in the religion of Pokemon, which is what the book is about, anniversaries and holidays are a big deal. Whether it's the annual World Championships or the annual Pokemon Go event, this year was in Chicago. Interestingly enough, these are all moments for the hobby to celebrate. And of course, the best way to celebrate is to rip packs. Yeah, I thought Logan Paul tonight did a good job with Ken Golden. I don't think getting Logan Paul would be very realistic for my show, but I would love to get Ken Golden. I think that would be realistic. I'm really impressed with his entrepreneurship. I love his enthusiasm. And he's probably a few years older than me, but I like how he's one of the older guys who's still a thought leader in the hobby. I think that's terrific. Ooh, look at that one. Yeah, let's give that one some glass. Pronounce that Morpico, yeah? So I always have the glass nearby because good luck. You can't expect to pull a big hit and not have the proper way to take care of them. But I've already now pulled 7 cards that were worthy of the gallery. So now I got to get more glass to keep the good luck flowing. You know what? Here's a way to get the chat going next. When I'm going to run out of Pokemon in 3 or 4 packs, and so we'll keep the rip session going. And I should rip something next. So what would you like to see? I have a ton of V friends. Should we stay the non-sports cards and go V friends? If you like V friends, let me know. If not, I'd probably go with baseball packs. This one, it's got another insert. Actually, I think I pretty overpaid for this. This was $8.99. Yikes! I wonder where I got this. How much was the other one? Not sure. Oh well. All right, quick drink. So it's kind of interesting. When my son was coming up in his baseball years, that was when I started writing my first books, like Baseball Gods Volume 1 and 2. And I think I did it at first just for fun. Then it kind of became a good luck thing. And I used to play. Basically, I wore jerseys to all of his games, and I started collecting them. And I probably have 24 baseball jerseys, and they've basically been sitting in my closet for the last couple of years. Although whenever I would write my baseball-related books, I always would wear the jerseys, to kind of get the vibes going for real. So I have a few football jerseys, a few hockey jerseys. I have a ton of soccer jerseys because soccer was my first true love. It was my best sport. When my son was coming up, we started playing junior soccer. I was his coach for many years. First in New York with the Red Bulls Club, and then in Kansas City when he played rec. And then when he kind of retired from soccer to focus more on baseball, I kind of pivoted too. So I have not been to a Sporting KC match in a long time, actually. I'd love to go soon. So anyway, yeah. So I have a ton of hockey jerseys, but I'm getting ready to really start working on the basketball gods are real, like big time. Yeah, I gotta get a scissor for this. Hold on. Oh, what's this here? And so to get in the vibe, I first picked up a Anthony Edwards Minnesota Timberwolves jersey, and then I went online and I got a Kansas City Kings Nate Archibald old school jersey. Now that's really extra fun, not only because it's the Kansas City Kings, but I'm actually doing a series on Xbox related to doing a franchise called it's a dynasty called the Lost Franchises about the Kansas City Kings and the 6 franchises that are no longer around. And I'm starting in the 1983 Larry Bird, Magic Johnson era, and I'm playing with the Kings, so that's extra fun. But I'm really doing it because I need to have jerseys for when I write this book, The Basketball Gods Are Real. And so I bought this T-shirt today, actually, and I also bought a KU jersey today. And on eBay, I'm tracking a Patrick Ewing jersey and a Jalen Brunson jersey because I gotta get some Knicks jerseys. So this was the card that came with it. It's actually super cute. Mako Huda. It sounds like he's Hawaiian. Okay, this is actually a perfect order. So that's another one. So we have Pitch Black, Chaos Rising, Perfect Order. That's 3 sets that have basically been a bust since Ascended Heroes came out. Now remember, Ascended Heroes, the product was worth double on eBay the day of the release. And people were literally getting in a fight to Target. One guy slept out in a Best Buy and had to be escorted out by a SWAT team. That was literally like peak Pokemon frenzy, peak Pokemon craziness. And by the way, the prices of Pokemon have also at an all-time high at that exact moment. And maybe it's a coincidence, maybe not, but the last 3 sets, Pitch Black, Chaos Rising, and Perfect Order, they have not done well. People have tried to scalp them, but they've not made any money. They're basically making nothing after shipping and taxes and all that stuff and eBay fees. That's a good thing, I think, because we don't want scalpers ruining the hobby. We want kids to get their hands on packs. That's the whole point. But because Pokemon is so awesome and people made so much money, it's capitalism. People are going to find an arbitrage. And if there's a way to make money from it, they're going to do it. All right, now we're over 300 people watching. That is just epic. Thank you guys so much for joining. So Pokemon is an absolute phenomenon, and it will continue to grow, but it will go through ebbs and flows. And it would not shock me. Oh my God, we have another beautiful card coming up. It wouldn't shock me if the prices continue to decline in the short term for all the existing sets leading into the 30th anniversary, right? And then the 30th anniversary, prices might be high in the very, very beginning, okay? So be careful. But then they're going to print that stuff to oblivion. In fact, I'm pretty sure they've been sandbagging and printing stuff and not releasing it because they want to have so much to release worldwide. And then after they flood the market, the prices of 30th anniversary is going to drop. So be careful. My advice is don't be chasing that stuff and on eBay and overpaying it, or going to GameStop and paying $600 a box when you're paying like $30 a pack. It's ridiculous. Don't do it, please. It should be like $5 a pack. So just be patient and wait, because they're going to print this a lot, and prices will come down. That will eventually be 4 sets in a row that have been released that are basically going to trade at MSRP. So I think once the 30th anniversary has played itself out over the next 6-12 months, and that all that stuff gets released, then people have been they'll be fulfilled with their desire to rip 30th anniversary, and then they want to rip the old stuff, and that will now be in short supply, right? And then prices will surge again. So my prediction is, if I'm, again, not advice, but from a betting man, I would say that prices are going to continue to decline hard soon for the next, into the release. And they might stabilize and then go down again. And then once the print run is finished for the 30th anniversary, that will be the bottom of the market for Prismatic Evolution and for, Ascended Heroes and Destined Rivals and all the sets that, had been and 151, all the big fly high sets that have been big money makers now, what goes up the fastest, when the tide rises, all the boats will rise. When the tide comes out, all the boats are going to sink. So the ones that went up the most are going to come down the fastest. And it's already happening. Look at the individual prices of some of the highest priced PSA 10 cards in Pokemon world. They're down 50% in like 2 months. And if that's already happened, Fibonacci patterns exist for everything in the universe, not just tech stocks, and the bond market exists for the ocean waves and for Pokemon markets too. So just heads up. All right, anyway, I mean, this is a really cool looking card, but this is the one that was the winner. Look at this dude. Spoopa. He is so cute. Yeah, that's cute. All right, let's keep going. Hold on, I need some more glass. Heads up. Yeah, it's wild. The longer the stream goes, the more people keep watching. 333 now. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I appreciate it. I should do this more often, I guess, right? It's like when it's during the day, I know people are at work, they're busy. Who's going to watch my live stream? So I'd rather just do it live so it's on the Twitter feed, but I can just kind of record a short little segment and then be done with it. But the truth is, once you're at nighttime, especially on the weekends, what's the difference? Just go live. Uh-oh, I think I'm out of stands. Nope, I got some. So what's your favorite hit so far? Is it this guy? Or this guy? This guy? So they pulled that Charizard tonight. I've pulled one Charizard in my life. I've pulled one Pikachu in my life. That's it. I've pulled a lot of Pichus. Okay, last box to rip. Now, this is an interesting thing. Okay, I have a chapter called the God Pack, and the Pokemon Gods are real. Everyone knows what a God Pack is, right? It's when every card is a full art, special illustration rare. Okay. Now, I once gotten this mailed to me, a box like this in the mail, and I don't remember buying it. I think I might have won it for free on like a Fanatics Live thing where I just clicked on the free giveaways and I won it, and I got this in the mail. Or maybe I got it by mistake. I don't really remember, but it was sitting in my Pokemon pile forever, and I had a bunch of it, and I just hadn't opened it yet. And then when I opened it, one of the packs only had 3 cards. Now, hold on. I have a shelf of all my big pulls, and so maybe you can help me make a decision on this, okay? Because technically a God Pack has got to be like a full pack, okay? Hold on. Watch this. So does this come to a God Pack? I got 3 cards, and these are the 3. Full art Charmander, the full art Executor, and a full art Bulbasaur, who I believe is the first Pokemon in the Pokédex, by the way. So it was 3 for 3. Is that considered a God Pack? But it wasn't like 7 cards or 5 cards. It was just 3 cards. Or would that be considered like a mini God Pack? I guess it's like a mini God Pack, right? So anyway, we'll find out. When we open this right now, if one of those packs has 3 full arts, then maybe they all do it. It's something special. It's the series 2. This has got a Chaos Rising, a Perfect Order, which are probably not special packs. And then this series 2, I think, could be a banger. And again, if it's just 3 cards and they're all, yep, it is 3 cards. So we'll find out if they're all art, right? So let's find out. Here we go. What do you guys think? Will it be 3 full arts? I hope it's not. because that will mean that I did pull a God pack. If there are 3 full arts, then maybe they're all like that. I just didn't know any better because I'm a naive Pokemon novice. All right, so these are the 3. Should we save this one for last? Also, chat, are we going to wrap it up after these 3 packs, or should we keep going? You got to let me know if we should keep going. If we are going to keep going, you got to let me know. Are we ripping baseball or V-Friends? Or I can just surprise you guys and I could just go random. Yeah, I could just get my shoebox full of random stuff. I can do that. All right, let's do this one for last. First is Chaos Rising. Let's see if we can notice the difference between Chaos Rising and Perfect Order. So I don't collect this card. I don't think it's cute, but I'm a Taurus in astrology, and so I love the Taurus bull. It's also one of the reasons why I love the bullish bull and V-Friends, I guess. But this is totally rad of the astrology of the character, I guess. I think. But anyway, yeah. Oh, look at this. Oh, this guy is one of the original OG 151 characters. That's cool. This one is just cute. And then look at this one, guys. Look at that. Gorgeist. I mean, not technically full art, but just feels like it's a hit, you know? And because I mentioned Ho-Oh in my book, it's going to go to the gallery because it's one of the OG characters. Yeah, now we're at 348 people in the chat. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. I really appreciate it. It's really a phenomenon that I've never seen before. The longer you stay on live stream, the more people join. So what would happen if I just stay on all night? You guys think this deserves to go in the gallery? What do you think? Yes or no? I kind of feel like it does. It's kind of a weird looking guy. It says ghostly touch. It's kind of, is that a ghost? I mean, I'm not even sure what that guy is, but I love, you know what? I just love the colors. I love the purple. Look at that. I guess I should use the extra camera. That's why I have it, right? Yeah, that's just a cool card. All right, one more to go, and then we got the big mystery pack to finish it up. Yeah, Paulie, I can't believe you guys are doing a Pokemon podcast. That's so awesome. It's so overdue. Who do you got hosting it? I can't wait to find out. That's just a pretty card. Look at that intricate design. It's just beautiful artwork. I mean, I can't name all the artists, but there's a chapter of my book, Pokemon Gods Real, called The Scribes. I guess I'm a scribe too now. It's all the people who helped make this universe come to life. All right. So we got the grand finale, the mystery pack. Will it be 3 full arts? And if it is, that still can mean it doesn't mean it's not my pack was not a god pack. If this one is, maybe this was a special one too, right? But if it's just commons or whatever, then we'll know. All right, Pokemon gods, be with us. There's an awesome soccer player that plays for Mexico who just signed actually in the USL called Javier Hernandez. He used to play for Manchester United, and his nickname is Chikorito. And this is a Chikorita, so it makes me think of Javier Hernandez. Shout out to Javier. Oh, yeah. So I guess I don't know what to think. I guess it's not I guess maybe it's not a God pack. Maybe they're all like this because here it is. We got 3 full arts. These are beautiful cards, but maybe this is also just a miracle God pack. I don't know, but it's 3 different ones than before. I mean, I found these at Target, and I only bought 1 box, but there was like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 of them. I probably should have bought them all, I guess, right? Because look at that. Just absolutely beautiful cards. So what do you guys think? Is it another God pack? Or are they all like this? I don't know. It's just maybe the Pokemon gods are real, guys. They're gonna all go to glass. They deserve it. Absolutely kick-ass design on these cards. So I wonder, out of the 357 people that are watching, how many people are actually now falling asleep? Like they're in their bed, headphones on, lights are out. I fall asleep to YouTube stuff all the time. So it's kind of funny that I'm now the guy that people are watching when they go to sleep. So they'll probably wake up in the morning and they'll see how long this live stream went. But again, for everyone who's joining me right now who's awake, I say thank you very much. I appreciate it. I don't abuse coffee and caffeine anymore. I've been off of it for some time. I have been on and off of coffee many, many times throughout my years as an author. It's definitely a drug, although it's legal. But after I drink too much coffee over too long a period of time, it takes this toll on me. I hurt my stomach and all these different things. And then I quit. And I go through a terrible withdrawal. And it's horrible. It's awful. And then I finally break free. And then I'm happy that I'm free until I want to stay up late one night and write. And then I need a little extra sugar or energy. And I fall back and get a coffee. And I'm not doing that. I'm staying away from it. But anyway, it's now 2 a.m. So I definitely have pulled all-nighters over the last 10 years writing books. Many, 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 many nights. Many, many nights I would get into the zone where I'm literally just like in the zone, and words just like kind of come out of my fingertips, and I don't know where the time and space goes. I don't even get up to pee or drink. I'm just like in it, and many, many hours will pass by, and then the sun will be coming up, and I'll go to bed, like 5:30. And my wife's alarm's gonna go off in an hour and a half or whatever, So like that's just the life of an author who also happens to have a day job. I do have a day job. I'm a financial advisor, so it's the Late Late Show with Jonathan Fink. And for you too, Paul, you gotta go to sleep, bro, because you gotta get up early and do more convention stuff. So maybe I should wrap it up. But now I'm thinking like we now have 359 people. I can't wrap it up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rip some VFriends because VFriends is hustling to make it. They're still on the fringe of the TCG world, but it's my favorite. I'd love to become like an ambassador for VFriends. And yeah, I know that Gary V and their whole team's now at they were at the Fanatics Fest. They're out there national, and they're trying to spread the good word and trying to get their product into kids' hands and to make people aware of what they're doing. So let me do my part. Let's rip a mega box and a blaster box. VFriends, and maybe we'll call it a day, unless we're over 400. And if we're over 400, then we'll just keep going. All right, hold on. Yeah, I still can't get over this, guys. Another hat trick. Coincidence or another mini God pack? I don't know. That's for you, Paulie. All right, so let me explain real quick what's going on here with these different SKUs of VFriends. Last year, the real alpha was the blaster box because they included the 101 blast-offs, which were exclusive to blasters. So typically, companies put like the really special cards, like the super rares, in the high box, which are much more expensive. But Gary wanted to kind of put the power with the people and let the common average Joe who walks into a Target get the same kind of upside experience as the guy who can spend, a huge amount of money on a break. So the blasters, were low cost. You can buy them retail for $30, and you can hit cards that could go for 2,000. I pulled 2 101s out of blasters last year in Series 1. I did buy a high box of V-Friends, but I wound up flipping it because I made some money. But because it was just a silly opportunity. But the new SKU, which Gary took me the alpha this year, is the Mega Box. Now, I've ripped a ton of these already. And what I have found is I've yet to see the upside of the super rares and stuff like that in Megas. But what they do have is a lot of guaranteed hits, like the Mega Heads, which is a certain type of card. Here, hold on, let me show you one. I keep a couple of my V-Friend cards in my special collection here. Hold on. Now, I think this should be going for way more money in the secondary market. They're not yet. I think they will when people realize how rare they are. But every character gets a Mega Head. There's only one per Mega Box, so they're pretty rare. And of course, the Lucky Black Cat is kind of their signature character, right? But yeah, so I love the Mega Head. I think it's one of the cooler designs that they have. But there's also a lot of the other inserts that are in there. But they have yet to really move on the secondary market. What does sell in the secondary market are the 101s. The autos and the numbered cards and and then the erupts, which are kind of like the kaboom of their series. But like the Mega Heads, they'll go for like $5-10, honestly, which is not that big of a deal. But I think these are great cards. So yeah. So anyway, let's start with the Mega, and let's see which Mega Head we get, and then we'll see if we get any really crazy Mega hits in the blaster. So when I see guys rip packs, they always have like that razor, and they go like zip, zip. I just got a scissor here. Lo-fi Fink technology. Yeah, I'm making a mess with all these packs tonight, but I'm having fun. Thank you for joining me again. 2 a.m. You guys are a bunch of sports card degenerates just like me. I love it. All right, get some V-Friends. Let's do it. Now, look, there's only 4 per pack. I wish there were more, but it's Chrome. It's how Chrome works. But because there's only 4 per pack, and because this product is so freaking awesome, let's give every card its day in the sun, right? We'll give every card a proper feature, and we'll read the competitive advantage of every character. Brunson, All-Star from the Gods. Hell yeah, Paulie. All right, Monday Mole. Loves what he does, so appreciates every day. I guess I'm a Monday Mole too. Here I am at 2 a.m. with you guys ripping cards. But maybe it's because I'm so driven. I'm a driven dragon. Paulie's a driven dragon. Competitive advantage. Impossible to stop once set in motion. Its pure drive turns focus into fiery dominance. Kindred Kangaroo. Makes everyone feel seen and connected like family. Yeah, I mean, V-Friends, doesn't it just warm your heart? Make the world a better place. Ooh. Oh, sorry. Mega boxes have more cards. They have 7. It's the blast that have 4. Whatever. So the X Factor, Gary thought would be a big hit. And I think it would actually be a fun set to collect all the X Factors. But again, for some reason, not doing anything in the secondary market right now. They're basically going for kernels. Sharing Squirrel, competitive advantage. Shares not just things, but also support and encouragement. Right? I mean, shouldn't everyone be a sharing squirrel? The Oak Monster. Competitive advantage. Never forgets his roots, allowing him to grow massive and strong. One of my OGs. The Entrepreneurial Elf. Now, the truth is, I think the design of Series 1 better than Series 2, although I respect V-Friends for changing it up. I think it's good to keep changing things up over time. But the Entrepreneurial Elf, I mean, I run 2 businesses. I have Polar Guns Publishing, and I have Satya Investment Management, and so I'm definitely, not like Gary Vee or Elon Musk, but I keep my hands full running two different operations, and I love doing it. I love working for myself. I love being responsible for the consequences of my decisions. Kind of like being the captain of your own domain, kind of thing, whatever. I love that. I love the freedom that comes with entrepreneurship, and I think that people have to remember that America, for all of its flaws, is a pretty effed up country, has been and continues to be, but it's still the best place in the world. It's the place where anyone can come for freedom. And by the way, for all the people that, not to get too political, but I know that socialism right now is very popular. We got a socialist mayor in New York, and a lot of uber liberal candidates are popping up everywhere. But remember this: in Germany, when the Berlin Wall collapsed, people started running. Did they run? Which way do they run? Did they run towards the communists, or did they run towards the capitalists? Think about that. And if you don't know your world history, people did not run to the communists, okay? Because they know what happens to economies when communism takes over. Just go read the book Animal Farm for a good reminder, all right? So again, our country's got issues, and there's no easy fixes, but it's the best model that this planet has as of now. I think there's ways to improve it, though. For example, if you read the RBL Volume 3, I write about direct democracy and populism, and I think empowering the people further could be one way to make our system even better. But as far as entrepreneurship, high taxes, what incentive is there for an entrepreneur to create a business if they're going to get taxed so much that there's no profits? There's no reason to. Just stay home and drink a beer. If taxes are low and there's profit opportunity, then people will invest. And when there's competition, then you're trying to make your company even better to win business. And so when there's free market capitalism, there's competition, everyone benefits, hopefully, if it's done properly. So again, nothing's perfect, but it's the best system we got. And entrepreneurship is the backbone of the American dream and our system. And I think it's so important that we continue to have a world where entrepreneurs have incentive to invest and thrive. Anyway, that was my soapbox on that real quick. Competitive advantage. Where others see problems, he sees opportunity. Yeah, it's all about finding the arbitrage. A good entrepreneur sees the marketplace where there's a void, and they try to fill that void. Kind warrior. Competitive advantage. Knows that nice guys actually finish first. Gosh, I hope that's still true. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, the numbers keep rising. We're now at 370 people. So if we get over 400, then we'll keep ripping after these two boxes. Otherwise, we'll call it a night. Let's quit while we're ahead, right? Genuine giraffe. Not admired for their size or status, but rather by how real and open they are to others. Tremendous tiger. Competitive advantage. Encourages others to unleash their inner strength and chase their biggest dreams. This is the magic word, gratitude. When you're grateful, the universe opens doors, I'm telling you. Gratitude gorilla. Keeps perspective by focusing on what's already good. We hit a little bit of a banger, people. A true numbered end-to-end, 50 out of 50, the bubbly buzzard. Competitive advantage. Upbeat attitude turns tough moments into something easier to face. All right, hold on. I know this has been a Pokemon rip session because I announced the release of my book, September 16th, Pokemon Gods Are Real. Will be on pre-order ASAP. But we got to put the numbered card in the gallery because it's where it belongs. We need more. So let it be known that the Mega Box did produce a really nice numbered card. Bashful Blobfish. Proves you don't have to be loud to matter. Logical Lion. Competitive advantage. Avoids overreacting to short-term failures and approaches decisions based on the reality. Seems pretty practical to me. X-Fractor, we got the offensive-oriented orangutan. Competitive advantage, entirely focused on their next move and spends no energy worrying about what others are doing. Yeah, dude, come on. One of the first hobby updates I did was about FOMO and Topps Pro Baseball, and the fear of missing out. Yeah, just be happy with who you are, where you are. Be grateful for what you have. A lot of times you feel like you're missing out, and you're really not. You know. The grass is not always greener. All right, well-rounded warthog. Broad skill set means if one path closes, it's already prepared with another. Honorable ohm. Lives by their values, not by attention or reward. Charming cheetah. Sprint into anyone's heart with wit and charm. Radical rabbit. Leaps over obstacles with bold confidence and boss cool. We got our first chalk, creative crab. Today's lesson. They give lessons in this one, not a competitive advantage. Your imagination is a superpower. Creative crab teaches you to follow the ideas that pop into your mind. When you let your imagination flow, new paths open, and amazing things can grow from one small spark. Optimistic otter. Always thrilled about his next at-bat while acknowledging he's not guaranteed to hit a home run. Candid clownfish. Swims with fearless honesty, saying what he needs to be said so the tide doesn't turn. All right, I need a drink. All right, this stream is my longest stream ever. 1 hour and 42 minutes. 371 fun. We're having fun. 371 kind souls, kindred spirits joining me today. Uh-oh, did our camera go out? Hold on. My phone died. That's when you know the stream's gone too long. Here, you know what? There you go. Conviction cockroach. Survives life's hardest stomps with determination, always crawling back stronger. Profound possum. Can clearly see the why behind the what. Ooh. One of my favorite designs. Look at that. And one of my favorite new characters, the Flexing Fox, competitive advantage, learning not to act or flex from a place of comparison. But that card, look at that card. Awesome card design. Calm Clam. She knows when to rest inside her shell and when to come out and shine. Keen Kingfisher. Stays sharp by paying close attention to what others miss. Ooh, one of the OGs. Notorious Ninja. Controls the outcome by controlling when and how he appears. Lit Lamb. Enters with high energy that fires up everyone around him. I feel like you got a lot of value from the Mega Box. Let's go fast to this one. Confident Cobra. Spiffy Salmon. Consistent Cougar X-Fractor. Competitive Clown. YOLO Yak. Honorable Ohm. Well-rounded Waterloo. We'll read that one. Broad skill set means if one path closes, it's already prepared with another. Confident Cobra was on the packaging of Series 1, one of the OGs for sure. Yeah, I never realized how much fun it would be to be a Twitch streamer and to be a YouTuber and a podcast host. Never occurred to me, especially at this stage of my life, right? I mean, I have 2 kids out of the house. My son's home for a couple more weeks from college, but then he's gone again. And you know, so much of my life has been focused on being a dad and dedicating my life to my kids, and everything I do is based on my kids' lives and what their needs were, not my own. And now it's a different pace, right? And yes, I fill the void by doing more writing stuff and whatever, but I love the podcast now. Now it's like every week I have something to look forward to. There's planning that needs to be done to book the guests. I'm always thinking about, you know, what packs to buy. It just gives me another element of you know, I guess zest to my life. You know, I love it. Sensible sommelier, YOLO yak, competitive clown. Whoa. This is an anomaly. I love the anomalies when you pull the same card, the same pack. That's so rare to happen. Tonight at the Logan Paul Ken Golden stream, one of the packs that had one of the 5 Michael Jordan cards also had the Michael Jordan sticker. Each pack gets 1 sticker. So could you imagine one pack had 2 Jordans? So it does happen, right? Balanced beetle. Sensitive centipede, glowing glowworm. Let's read that. Radiates positive energy from within that lifts spirits and lights up others. Cool. All right, 2 more to go in the mega. Again, thoughts? Mini God pack? They're all like this? Coincidence? What do you guys think? All right, here we go. I feel like I should one day do some kind of like fundraiser for charity, like a marathon kind of thing, and you stay up all night raising money. This is kind of like practice for that. Charming cheetah, radical rabbit, befuddled burglar. He's one of the bad guys. Even they have positive traits. Check this out. Fumbles every escape, but uses the surprise to learn something new each time. Passionate parrot. Macro, micro. These are balanced battles. This is our first one. Let's read it. Macro and micro may seem like opposites, big versus small, but when balanced, they unlock progress. Micro is the fast, daily work. Macro is the patience and the focus on the long-term goals. Live each day with macro vision and micro speed for maximum impact. Turn tick, humble hedgehog. As we say in the religion of sports cards, last pack magic. Here we go. Yeah, we'll wrap the stream up at the 2-hour limit. Badass bulldog, observant oyster, authentic anaconda. All right, hold on. Whoa, here we go. Whoa. Out of the mega box, this is a mega hit. I'm not sure I've even pulled a numbered card this low before. 10 out of 10. Boisterous beaver. Leads from the ground up, moving fast and using pure enthusiasm to pull others forward. So awesome. The pull and the message. This product is brilliant. Really is brilliant. Oh, I saw what's next. Hold on. I saw the mega head. We found the mega head. But in this mega box, we had an out of 50 bubbling buzzard and a 10 out of 10. I mean, this could be a $50 card. This could be a $100 card. This mega box paid for itself. So that's the thing about V-Friends. It's like, it's got an investment component. People, look, the one of one Erupt Black Cat sold for $132,000 this week. Are people still sleeping on V-Friends? Do they not get it? I know there's a lot of podcast guys like Sports Card Dad. They still kind of like shit on V-Friends, and they're missing out. This is the shit's brilliant, and you can make a lot of money if you're into that sort of thing. If you like to make money. Yeah, I mean, I've pulled a few 1-1s in my life. I pulled a 5 out of 5 out of the college baseball pack recently. But as far as V-Friend goes, this time around, that's my best hit out of 10. I did pull 2 101s though in Series 1. Authentic Anaconda, Observant Oyster, Badass Bulldog. What is this one? Your poor relationship. Time is your biggest vulnerability. Whoa, this one you don't see very often. Gary B. Respect for others spreads like pollen, creating relationships when wisdom flows freely. So this is like Kevin Dempsey's My Alter Ego from the Public Baseball League book series. Gary B is probably Gary V's alter ego. And then speaking of mega hits and the mega box, this is the mega head we pulled of the Heart Trooper. I don't really know what the deal is with the Heart Trooper. He's kind of like a spaceman, an astronaut. All right, but I gotta say that box was a real win. This is like $5-10 right there off the bat, and then those 2 other hits. I mean, literally, like again, I should have a card ladder set up for this. Sorry, Paulie, maybe next time. But I'm guessing that's a $50 card and a $75, $100 card. And I bought the box for what, $55, $60? We did good. All right. Speaking of doing good, this is where you could have some insane pack luck. So let's give it a go. All right. This will be the last rip of the night. We're at 1 hour, 52 minutes, so we should get this wrapped up in 8 minutes. To finish it at 2 hour mark, that'd become perfect symmetry. We didn't hit the 400 views. I said I'd keep going if we got to 400. We're at 372, but look, that's 372 OGs that stayed with me for this entire stream, or you stayed with me from whatever point that you got on, and maybe it's because you've already fallen asleep, but I know Paulie hasn't, so at least he's awake, and I appreciate that, Paulie. But it says 372 people, and the numbers gotta be right, yeah? All right. Yeah, I can't believe my phone literally, we did this for so long, my phone literally died. That's too much. All right. Let's have some fun. Yeah, I've decided I don't like when skeptics and stuff kind of compare sports cards to gambling. I think it's entertainment, because even when you are gambling, you go to a casino or you're betting on a Monday Night Football game. What are you really doing? It's entertainment. Now, look, there is a component of gambling addiction, and that's a serious thing, and I don't want to minimize that at all. But we spend money on all kinds of stuff. I mean, just think about how much money people spend at Starbucks every week and every month and every year for those who drink coffee. Like, if you didn't drink coffee and you didn't spend that money on sports cards and box breaks, is that such a big deal? It really isn't. It's all about budgeting, right? Stun Sun. Bubbly Buzzard. Oh, yeah, so the blaster boxes, one of the things they have exclusive to them is the yellow parallels. And this is a yellow competitive clown. Let's read it. Cares about winning and losing, so gives 110% in everything and wants to win. And a Grateful Gar. Is that the second character that uses grateful? Maybe it is. It shouldn't be, though, but maybe it is. Stays grounded by appreciating what they have instead of chasing what they don't. No, maybe that's the same character, but either way, gratitude's so important, they probably should have it more than once, right? All right, here we go. All right, Paulie went to sleep. Oh, actually, see, I must be entertaining because Paulie said at 1:59 a.m. he's tapping out, which you should. Get to bed, Paulie. You got a big day tomorrow, right? And you want to have like bags in your eyes like I do. You're much younger than me. You got to look good tomorrow on camera. I wonder what you're wearing tomorrow, too. I'm always curious to see what you got planned. But then at 2:20 a.m., you're writing 10 out of 10, baby, and mega hits. So you're still with me, bro. Dude, you're the fucking bomb, dude. I appreciate you. Sorry for F-bombing. My shows should be PG-13 always. Positive porcupine. Be the bigger person. Ooh, relentless red devil. I love how even the bad guy, like the red devil, is probably like a bad character, but the power source getting knocked down because he doesn't. Because okay, sorry, let me read this properly. Power source getting knocked down because hits don't end him, but rather they prove he can take more. Right? I respect that, I guess, right? And then a well-connected werewolf. All right, home stretch. Here we go. Get this done in time. 5 minutes to go. Awesome African civet. Moral monkey. My favorites, entrepreneurial elf with the chalk. Today's lesson, be a problem solver. I'm getting the glare. You see that? What was there? Entrepreneurial elf teaches that you don't have to take the same path as everyone else. If the fire is in you, you can build a business around your biggest passions. I have done that. So Gary Vee, I'm literally doing it, man. Hot shot Hornet. All right, 5 to go. Yeah, I feel like it's already been a great rip session. We pulled some really good Pokemon cards. We've had some banger VFriends cards. I'm grateful. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I really do appreciate it. You guys can spend your time with anybody. You can watching anything else. There's Netflix, there's TV, there's all kinds of stuff on TikTok and YouTube. And you're hanging out with me. And I just want to say thank you for being part of the club with me. This is what I envisioned when I wrote the book. And I use that title, the idea that the hobby is about community. And that's why I wanted to have, again, I wish more people were active in the chat, but that's the whole idea, is to foster community. That's what this hobby is so special. Patient pig. Like a sponge. Jolly Jacko with the yellow refractor. And you're going to die, fly. Let's read that one. Competitive advantage. Flies through life knowing that tomorrow isn't promised. Guys, that is some harsh truth right there. I believe in reincarnation personally, but live like there isn't. Live every day to the fullest. But have good karma just in case there is. All right, here we go. 3 minutes to go. Fearless Fairy, one of the OGs. Impeccable Astronaut. I don't even know what that's supposed to be. Maybe it's one of the bad guys. Always strikes with 100% intent to create the best outcome. Sensible Sommelier, the yellow. And for the first time tonight, Adaptable Alien. All right, 2 minutes. We're still at 372. No one dropped off. All you guys stuck with me to the very, very end. I'm grateful, guys. So awesome. Creative Crab. You guys are slaying it. Slaying Slug. You guys, everyone in the Pokemon community is faithful. The faithful pheasant. Can I even speak? And then the selfless sloth. I cannot speak. Competitive advantage. Knows that taking care of others begins with taking care of itself. It's kind of like when you're on the airplane, it says you got to put the mask on yourself first before you put it on somebody else. That makes sense to me, actually. All right, 2 to go and 1 minute to go. You guys are amazing. The world has plenty of love. Start listening to it. Start sharing it. Start showing it. Forever Phoenix. And then boom, shakalaka. We did hit a numbered card. I feel like every blaster should have at least one. We have the Eager Eagle, 175 out of 199. So not super low numbered, but that's still a good hit. And a Chill Chinchilla. And last to go, with 30 seconds to go. This is it, guys. Tolerant Tuna, Heart Trooper, Outrageous Octopus in the yellow, and the Respectful Raccoon. Competitive advantage, treats others for who they are, not for what they can offer. And speaking of which, I want to say to you guys, thank you for being here. I am grateful. Pokemon gods are definitely real. I hope you guys pre-order that new book. It'll be released on September 15th. And you guys take care. God bless.
He pulled a stain from a shoebox lid. Said this one traded for my first big win. Jonathan Fink on the line tonight with a pack in hand and a story that bites. Oh.